A few days ago on my community tab, I asked you to leave your hottest takes that you truly believe to be real. And I told you I was going to put them in a video. So that is what this video is. I'm reacting to these hottest takes. I will tell you if I agree with you, if I disagree, if I'm kind of in the middle somewhere. But I'm super excited to really dive into these and really tell you guys like how much I actually believe these. I think we have like around 15 to 20 hot takes we're going to go through. And it's going to be a ton of fun. So I hope you guys enjoy. In the comment section below, also tell me what you think is the hottest take. And tell me if you disagree with anything you want to do, interact with these. I would appreciate that a ton. And also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe if you're new. You know, turn on the post notifications, like the video. All that stuff helps the YouTube algorithm, which helps me give better content to you. So it's a win-win-win for all sides. I appreciate that. Now let's go react to some hot takes. All right, so our first hot take is that if the Nuggets didn't trade Donovan Mitchell on draft night, they would have beat the Lakers in 6 this season and would be the best team in basketball for the foreseeable future. I'm gonna have to say this is a pretty hot take, and I would disagree with that. Even if they had Donovan Mitchell, assuming he's just as good as he is now, they likely wouldn't have a lot of the players that they have, like Torrey Craig or Will Barton or Jeremy Grant. A lot of these players that are like really solid pieces for them and helped them on their playoff run probably wouldn't be having those players. You know, or at least not all of them. Things would be a lot different. Who knows how good Jamal Murray would be if he had to share the ball with Donovan Mitchell and vice versa, Mitchell and Murray. I think they'd be better. I do think they'd be better, but like good enough to beat the Lakers in 6 after they just lost 4-1. I just can't agree with this hot take, but I like the optimism there, and I like the framework of this. I can't agree with this one. All right, we're staying on the Denver Nuggets bandwagon, and for number 2, we have AN Slammed said, the Denver Nuggets will become a dynasty in the next decade with Jokic, Murray, MPJ, and Bol. Dynasty is like such a... I think dynasty gets tossed around by some people a little too often. I would consider the Warriors a dynasty, but I can't see another dynasty. I wouldn't consider the Miami Heat a dynasty. I think you have to win 3 championships in a short period of time probably to be a dynasty. So we haven't seen a ton of those. Obviously, back in the day, like Lakers had a dynasty, MJ had a dynasty, the Celtics had a dynasty. But I don't see the Nuggets winning more than 2 championships in the next decade. By that time, Jokic is well past his prime. Murray is 30-something years old. MPJ is 30 years old. And Bol, who knows if he's still in the league, if he's healthy or not. You know, who knows if these guys all stay the same. I do like your thought process. If all 4 of these guys stay the same, they meet their max potential, they could be a really good team and be, you know, a top 3 seed for the foreseeable future. If that's what you think of when you think of dynasty, go for it. But I'm assuming he means championships. I don't see them winning more than 2 championships in that time period. I mean, you have Giannis in the league. You have a lot like Luka, who's gonna demand to win some championships. Trae Young, a lot of these young players, people coming up. I just don't see the Nuggets getting it done. So again, I cannot agree with this. And I would say this is a relatively hot take. I'm gonna rate it a little bit. If we're doing hot take, 1 being, you know, cold, you know, not a hot take really at all, and 10 being like a hot take, I would give this an 8. This is a pretty hot take because dynasties don't just pop up out of nowhere. And I'm not saying the Nuggets came out of nowhere, but don't happen very often. I don't think the Nuggets are going to be one of them. All right, Hayden Buckets now. His is a hot take. 10 out of 10 hot take. He says the Celtics trade Gordon Hayward to Indiana to get Miles Turner and then sign Anthony Davis and then win the finals for 5 straight seasons. I can't agree with this one. 1, I don't think Anthony Davis is going anywhere other than staying in Los Angeles. I think the only thing that could draw him out of LA would be if he's going to Chicago because it's his hometown. I do not think he wants to play in Boston. I don't see it. Plus, Gordon Hayward to Indiana. What's the point for Indiana to do that? Taking on a worse contract? You can get better things for Miles Turner if you're Indiana. I do not see this happening. And another thing is, I haven't crunched the numbers. I'm not sure. But I'd be willing to bet that this feasibly, money-wise, doesn't even work for Boston. So I would put a hard pass on this one. This is too hot for me. I cannot agree with this one. But shout out to Hayden for bringing it in. All right, and then AJ's World came and said that out of Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, and Trey Jones, they were all teammates at Duke. 3 of them, Zion, RJ, Cam, all in the league right now. Trey Jones Spent another year at Duke, and now he's in the NBA draft for 2020. He says at least 2 or 3 of them will team up, kind of like the banana boat type thing with LeBron. Okay. This is like, they're so young. The chances are 2 of them ending up on the same team is actually like, that's a decent shot. So I would say on a hot take scale 1 to 10, I would give this like a 4. Like, I don't think it's that hot a take. They still have like 15 to almost 20 years left in the NBA. And I could see them teaming up. Who knows? RJ and Zion could want to go somewhere at some point. Cam Reddish, you know, he's like, Atlanta's not doing it for me. I'm going to go to New York and be with RJ, or maybe RJ vice versa with Cam, or RJ wants to go to be with the Pelicans, or Trey Jones even just gets drafted by the Pelicans, you know, in the second round or something. I don't know. A lot of things could happen. Chances are that 2 out of these 4 players playing together, that's decently high. I'm going to go 4 out of 10, like I said, hot take-wise. I could agree with this one. I could see this happening for sure. All right, and then Dylan Daniels comes on and says the Pelicans will, all caps, will be championship contenders in the next 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years is a long time. A lot could happen. Zion could be one of the best players in the league, or Zion could be, you know, hope it doesn't happen, but Zion could be hurt. You know, that those type of things could happen. We have no idea who they're going to have be like. I don't think they've hired a coach yet. I don't know who is going to be on the team. Drew Holiday gets traded. He probably won't be around 5 years from now. Lonzo Ball could get traded. There's rumors swirling about that. That's a long outlook. But being championship contenders, on a scale of like hot takes, I would give this like a 5. I think that's not too hot a take. That's like an average take, I would say. Yeah, I could see it happening. I don't like guarantee it's going to happen. And it depends on your definition of championship contenders too, because in my mind, championship contenders is like maybe 3 or 4 teams in each conference that could possibly win the championship. Some years it's less, some years it's more. Yeah, I mean, but some people think like if you're in the playoffs, you're a championship contender, and you know, realistically, yeah, you are, because you're in the playoffs, and an 8 seed could feasibly go into the playoffs, win 16 games, and become the NBA champions. Will it happen? Maybe sometime, but probably not, you know, unless there's injuries and you just snuck in and then your best players came back healthy or something. But I will say, yeah, they probably are championship contenders next 3 to 5 years. You know, Brandon Ingram and Zion, 2 really good players. If they keep developing, I could see them being like a top 3 seed in the Western Conference, you know, after like LeBron retires and things like that. So I could see it happening. I'm not like sold on it, but I could definitely see it happening. And then Nick Stromer comes in with a boiling hot take, just flaming hot. He said, I believe Luka will win 5 straight MVPs. There is no way this happens. This is an 11 out of 10 hot take. 5 straight MVPs. That's just, in this day and age, I don't know if it's ever happened before. I'd have to look it up. I'm assuming it hasn't. But if you came in and told me like Bill Russell or like like someone won 5 straight, you know, Kareem or something, I don't know. If you told me like Wilt Chamberlain came in and he had 5 straight back when he was averaging like 50 points a game, okay, can maybe believe that. But in this day and age, that is not going to happen. Luka's going to be battling still for years Giannis, Trae Young, and then other just young players that are going to come into the league. You never know how good they're going to be. Plus, you have some players that in the right situation could take an MVP away. Joel Embiid, Jokic, Kat, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray. There's a bunch of players. MVP, 5 straight. They're not going to give anybody 5 straight. Look at LeBron. Look at LeBron James. Arguably the best player of all time. LeBron doesn't have 5 straight MVPs. Scratch that. LeBron doesn't even have 5 MVPs. He's been in the league for 17 seasons. He doesn't have 5 in a row. Luka is not going to get 5 in a row. It's never been done before. Ever. The most MVPs somebody's ever gotten is 6, and that was Kareem. And Kareem had 2 in a row, then 1, then 2 in a row, and then 1. Bill Russell, he has 5. Him and Michael Jordan, the only other people with 5. Bill Russell had 1 in 1958, 1961, 62, 63, so he had 3 in a row. Skipped a year, 65. So he won 3 in a row. MJ won 88, 91, and 92, 96 and 98. It's just not going to happen. It's never happened before, and I don't think it ever will happen unless you get to the point where you have a player that is literally just that much better than everybody else in the league, that he's averaging like 50, 20, and 15. But that probably never going to happen. So Nick, I appreciate the optimism. I don't know if you're a Mavs fan, if you're a fan of another team. I appreciate the optimism, but that is a boiling take, my friend, and I just cannot agree with it. 11 out of 10. All right, our next hot take comes from Beast Mode Dog, and I'm pretty sure, or D-Wag, I guess. 76ers fan, Denny Avdija will be the best in this draft class. So I think he's got multiple hot takes for this one. So Denny Avdija being the best in this draft class, I've heard that from a number of people. I'm going to give that like a 6 out of 10 on the hot takes. I think he definitely could be the best out of this draft class. Do I think he will be? No, I don't really agree with this one. I think at the end of the day, someone like LaMelo Ball or Killian Hayes or James Wiseman or Anthony Edwards, those guys I think have a better shot. And I know you might be backing up at Killian Hayes. I really like him. But I could see Avdija being that, so I'm going to give this like a 6 out of 10. I just don't necessarily think it's for sure going to happen. He's confident though, and I appreciate the confidence. His second one was that the Sixers will have 3 all-defensive players next year, including Matisse Thybulle. So I'm guessing the other players would be Joel and Ben Simmons. And I just don't see it happening. 3 on one team is crazy. I could see 2 happening. I could see Joel and Ben, or Ben and Matisse, whatever. I just don't see all 3 of them making it. I think Ben Simmons will 100% be on it unless he regresses. You never know if Joel Embiid will even be healthy enough to qualify for something like that. And I just think there's some really good defenders that might jump over Joel Embiid and Matisse Thybulle. So having 3, that's a really hot take for me. That's a 9 out of 10 hot take. And I can't get behind that one. But if you said 2, I would maybe give it like a 5 out of 10, like a neutral hot take. And just be like, yeah, I could see that happening. But 3, I really don't see that happening. And the third hot take he had was that if Omari Spellman gets real minutes on a team, he would be a most improved candidate. Omari Spellman is currently under contract with the Minnesota Timberwolves, but they are actively looking to trade him. Situation came when Omari Spellman came over from Golden State in that trade to send D'Angelo Russell to Minnesota and Andrew Wiggins over to Golden State. Spellman didn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be here. He still doesn't want to be here. And the Timberwolves don't really want him here, and there's just kind of bad vibes around the whole situation. So I think he could be a rotational piece for the Timberwolves right now, but unfortunately he's just doesn't want to be here. The Timberwolves don't want somebody with that attitude here. Apparently he has some eating issues, that he kind of weighs too much and he hasn't really got his eating habits under control from what I've heard. That's been thrown around, not from just Timberwolves, but like Warriors, Atlanta Hawks. But I think he's a solid player, and I think in the right situation, maybe he could be a candidate for most improved. But I'm going to have to give this a 7 out of 10 hot take. I just don't see it happening. I think he would have to take a really significant jump. I think there's going to be other people that could win most improved, like Malik Beasley possibly, or like Michael Porter Jr. You look at the type of players that win it. They're really good players, like Brandon Ingram, Pascal Siakam. Those type of players win most improved. I just don't see Spellman on that level, so I'm going to have to disagree with this one. All right, and then Quasi comes in with his hot take, and he says the GOAT isn't always decided through skill of the game. Being the GOAT includes impact of the game. Jordan is not the GOAT because he didn't leave as big of impact as Kobe, probably because basketball wasn't that popular back in Jordan's time. Kobe impacted the game the most. Jordan has the most skill. This is a hot take. This is a 9 out of 10 hot take. And the reason I say that is he said Jordan's not the GOAT because he didn't leave as big of an impact on the game as Kobe did. That's false. That is 100% false. And again, shout out Kobe. His jersey is right here. The snakeskin Mamba jersey is right here. Love Kobe. But if you're going to say that Jordan didn't have the same impact that Kobe did, you are just lying to yourself. Michael Jordan had people over in China wearing his jersey, wanting to be him. He had movies made about him and with him. Michael Jordan is the most impactful player for the game of basketball in the National Basketball Association that the NBA has ever seen. He made the game so worldwide before the internet. He was up and above so many other people that his impact of the game totally out-trumps Kobe Bryant. Now I'm going to look at the other side of this hot take. He said the GOAT isn't always decided through skill of the game. I can see that. That part of this, I can see. Impact is important, but I just can't get behind the Jordan not having as big of impact as Kobe. But yeah, I could see that the GOAT isn't always decided through skill of the game. You know, Jordan is more skilled than Kobe. Fact. But if you want to say like LeBron's, you know, the best player of all time, go for it. If you want to say Jordan's better than LeBron because of the impact, or maybe you think LeBron had a bigger impact than Jordan, sure. But Jordan's impact to me is bigger than Kobe's. It was the biggest we had ever seen when he had come and he made the game a worldwide thing. LeBron has impacted the game in other ways than Jordan did. I agree with that part. It isn't always decided through skill of the game. But I cannot get behind that Jordan didn't leave as big of impact as Kobe. Maybe in people's hearts Kobe had more. People cared about Kobe more. But growing the game of basketball, growing the NBA as a recognized league around the world, kind of how like soccer is just such a recognized game around the world and every country plays it. Jordan started that for the NBA. But like I said, if you're talking about like love for a player, Kobe's probably got that over Jordan. But Jordan's impact for the NBA was so immense, especially before the social media era, that I have to go with that. Alright, and then Daniel Shaw comes in with a hot take saying the Utah Jazz will be NBA champions in 2 years after signing Giannis and drafting a 23 to get a bench piece. Mike Conley comes back, be a good starting lineup of Conley, Mitchell, Bogdanovich, Giannis, Gobert. Bench of Clarkson, Favors is getting signed back, and the Jazz have Ingles and then pick 23, Kira Lewis or Trey Jones. That's a lot to unpack there, but basically, I'm going to throw this 100% out the door. Giannis ain't coming to Utah. This is a hot take, Daniel. This is an 11 out of 10 hot take. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the only way I see him leaving the Bucks is to go to a team in a bigger market and that already has had really good success. Kind of like a Kevin Durant situation, but maybe not quite as snakish. Going to like Miami or something like that. Which I guess that is kind of snakish because Miami did beat the Bucks and they're in the finals, but they didn't win 73 games in a season, whatever. I do not see Giannis leaving the Bucks for someone like the Utah Jazz. Well, if he did, yeah, they would be the NBA champions within 2 years, I bet. Think about that defense with Giannis and Gobert. But also, there's not much shooting around Giannis and Gobert there. But yeah, I just don't see this happening. I don't see them bringing Mike Conley back and being good. I don't see Favors just like coming back to be with that team. I don't see Kira Lewis being at pick 23, to be honest with you. There's a lot going on with this one. I cannot get behind this hot take because this is a boiling hot take. And Daniel, I appreciate it again. I appreciate everybody dropping these hot takes. And if you truly believe this, shout out to you. You have that die-hard fandom in you, and shout out to you. I just don't believe this one. But like I said, obviously if you guys commented it, you truly believe it. But I'm just not there. Quasi with his second one comes in and says that Klay Thompson is a better shooter than Curry. He just needs to be given the first scoring option to show that he's the best shooter in history. This is one that might not be as hot as we might think it is. I'm going to give it like a 7.5 or an 8 still. And I think what it comes down to is the way that they're shooting the ball. Klay Thompson's not an off-the-dribble guy. I think he's a rhythm guy. He's a spot-up guy. He scores a ton of points with very little dribbles. Steph Curry's the opposite. He's a momentum guy. Dribbles into his shot. Hits the long shots. That's not Klay Thompson's game. If you want to say that Klay will shoot a better percentage than Steph and is a better shooter than Steph, I could possibly get behind that actually. But the way that they impact the game from the three-point line is totally different. And Steph Curry literally like revolutionized the game of basketball. And Klay Thompson didn't do that. He's just a really good knockdown shooter. There's knockdown shooters that hit the open three-point corner shots, like PJ Tucker, right? But Klay Thompson just like another level of that, where Steph Curry is like totally beyond that. pulling up from 40 feet, draining shots, running around screens, dribbling around screens, between the leg step backs, all sorts of crazy things. I don't think Klay Thompson needs to be a first scoring option like Steph does. Steph's a first scoring option because he scores in so many ways. Klay doesn't score in so many ways, and I don't think it's because he didn't get the opportunity. I think it's just not his game, and I think that's Steph's game. So this is a pretty hot take, 7.5, 8 out of 10, I said. If you want to say Klay is a better shooter than Curry, like percentage-wise, knockdown, open shots-wise, I could see that. But I just don't get the first scoring option part of this one. But yeah, that's my take on it. If you guys disagree, let me know in the comments. Like I said, all of this is obviously subjective. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys commenting down in the comments section, your agreements, your disagreements, all that stuff, because these are some boiling hot takes. But we got to keep going. Daniel Shaw has another one about the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets. We've had a lot of Nuggets ones, and maybe it's because they had a good playoff run. I don't know. But Daniel Shaw said Nuggets would be the best team in the NBA if they never traded Gobert and Mitchell to the Jazz. And it is funny that they did trade both those players. But realistically, what happens then? You have Gobert and you have Jokic, plus you also had Nurkic at one point in time. Those are 3 good centers. Chances are Gobert would have been traded somewhere else if he wasn't traded to the Jazz. But let's go back. I already talked about the Mitchell part of it earlier, so we don't really have to focus on that. That was at the beginning. But even if they kept Gobert, Jokic, what do you play those two at the same time? How does that work on the court? Gobert can't shoot the ball, so he would need to be down low, but Jokic needs to be down low to a point too. Yeah, Jokic can operate from the outside, he can pass the ball, but he's kind of a pivot point for the offense everywhere on the floor, and if you have Gobert crowding the lane, I just don't know if it works, and I don't think that's enough to put them as the best team in basketball over like the Lakers, even like the Bucks. I just don't see it. I think they had a really good run, but I don't think they're the best team in basketball with Mitchell and Gobert because you lose some depth. You have some issues with, like I said before, Murray and Mitchell sharing the ball, Gobert crowding the lane for Jokic, Gobert maybe not even being there because they traded Nurkic. What's to say they wouldn't trade Gobert? I don't know. This is a hot... I don't know if I graded this one. This is like a 9 out of 10 in my opinion. Pretty hot take, but yeah. Again, a lot of these I'm not going to get behind, but that's right, because you guys are giving me your hottest takes, and that's what I asked for. All right, and then Harry Vanderplate, I'm guessing is how you say it. His hot take is that if LeBron stayed in Cleveland and never moved to LA, never went to the Lakers, Anthony Davis would have came and played for the Cavs with LeBron, and they'd be contenders. They would be contenders if Anthony Davis came and played with LeBron. But the thing is, Anthony Davis was not demanding a trade to the Cavs. Second off, the Cavs don't have the draft capital, the players, to have traded for an Anthony Davis. And if you're saying AD was going to wait till free agency to go with LeBron in Cleveland, I don't see it happening. I think AD wants to be in a big market. He wants to be in LA or New York or something like that, or Chicago. He doesn't want to be in Cleveland. It doesn't help him. Even if it's with LeBron, I don't see it. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I don't think AD would have went to Cleveland. I don't think they could have traded for him. I don't think that any of this would have happened if LeBron stayed in Cleveland, honestly. If for some reason AD joined LeBron in Cleveland, I think it'd be about the same caliber team that the Lakers have right now, and I think they would be contenders, and they'd probably win the championship. But to go in and say that he would have played in Cleveland, I can't get behind that personally. I don't know if... Am I crazy? Do you guys, in the comment section below, this is one thing I want everybody to do. Let me know if you think that if LeBron stayed in Cleveland, would AD have came and played with LeBron? That's all I need to know in the comment section below. And then anything else you want to talk about. But answer that question, please. But I can't get behind it. So let's move on. All right. And Emmanuel23. He said, Kawhi Leonard has become a worse defender this season. That's interesting. Personally, I don't think so. I think he's still one of the top defenders in the league. I think other people have just become better and maybe more versatile to where they're winning Defensive Player of the Year. Giannis, Bam, Ben Simmons. But I think Kawhi's still like a top 5 defender in the league. I don't think he's gotten worse. I haven't looked into stats about any of this. I've watched a lot of the Clippers games, and I don't see it from the eye test. I would have to really dive into like on-off splits and defensive, box plus minus and, defensive impact. Just tons of stats I would have to dive in to truly answer this question. But if I had to go, I would say this is like a 7 out of 10. I think there probably could be an argument that he's worse. But I just don't think it's like noticeably worse, if anything. So I would give this like a 7 out of 10. I'm not really behind this one. All right. And this is the last hot take. And this is coming from Vlogging with Adve. He said, Westbrook is better than Kyrie. I don't even know where to begin. First off, Kyrie is a top 5 point guard in the league. You have Steph, Dame, Kyrie's up there. I don't think Russell Westbrook's top 5 point guard in the league anymore. I really don't. So I'm going to say no. Is this a super hot take? No. Is this like a 7 out of 10 hot take? Yeah, this is probably a 7 out of 10 hot take because I can see people believing this. And for different reasons, defensive reasons, Westbrook's maybe a little bit better, attacking the basket a little bit better. But people forget how good Kyrie is finishing around the basket. Just so much stuff that I cannot put Westbrook over Kyrie personally. If you can, go ahead. That's your opinion. It's all subjective in the end. I personally can't do it. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10. But this comment has 2 likes. The other comments, I mean, this is like one of the most liked comments. So maybe people actually believe that. Not that many people were liking comments. But 2 likes on that one. I mean, some of them had 0 likes. So maybe people actually believe this. But yeah, I'm going to say no for that one. I'm going to put out like a 6 or a 7 on the hot take scale because I cannot agree with that. But that's going to do it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy these hot takes. Again, anything you want to talk about in the comment section below is a great place to do that. Also, if this is the first time you're watching the channel or you watched the channel before and you just have decided not to subscribe yet, hopefully this video convinced you to subscribe. And if it hasn't, I suggest go watching some of the past videos and hopefully that does. I would appreciate it. I'm on the road to 2,000 subscribers. So if you can help me get there, I would really, really appreciate that. If you guys want to see me do more hot takes, maybe I'll do this. So let me know in the comment section also if I should do more of these, get some other hot takes from other people, more from the same people, whatever. Let me know in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. It was a ton of fun. And I hope you guys enjoy and have a great rest of your day. So thanks again for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.